This might be the coolest, most whimsical, most magical flower you could ever possibly grow in your garden. Trust me, you're gonna wanna grow this. And today I'm gonna teach you guys exactly how. Right behind me is the blue butterfly pea flower vine. And the scientific name for this plant is Clitoria ternatia. And when you see it up close, you will understand why it's called that. That's all I'll say about that. But this is seriously one of the coolest flowers that you can grow for multiple reasons. I grow this every single year because I use it so much. First of all, obviously this is a really stunning flower. I feel like there's not many instances in nature where things are this kind of electric blue. This is very, very electric blue. I love this color blue. There are different varieties of this which range in shade. This one's my favorite. I love the striking blue. The reason that I love this very blue color is because this flower is also a natural food colorant. This flower is edible and it's actually medicinal. It's used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine, and there are actually a lot of studies coming out about this flower and how it is anti-inflammatory, and it's just like an overall health herb to have as a tea. When you make a tea with this, it is that really pretty electric blue color, and then it does this really cool thing. When you add acid like a lemon juice or lime juice to the tea of this, it turns pink. It's so fun. It's so fun. So not only can you make a healing tea with this, you can also make fun drinks like a lemonade, or it's always a fun party trick to make cocktails with it. And then when you pour in the lemon juice, everyone can see that it changes color. It's so magical. If you have children, this is definitely something you want to grow just for that experience. It does seem like it's magic. And so this is such a magical plant. I think that if you're able to grow it, you should grow it. Let's get into how you grow it. Butterfly pea is a tropical flowering vine in the legume family, which is just another benefit of it. Since it's a legume, it's fixing the nitrogen in the soil. So it's actually improving our garden soil to grow this plant. Bonus! This comes from the tropics of Asia. So this plant loves heat. If you live in zones 10 or 11, this is a perennial for you guys. So you can plant it once, it'll come back every single year. For the rest of us, we can still grow it. We just have to prepare a bit. It's grown as an annual for us. So we want to start this indoors, kind of along with our tomatoes and pepper plants and things like that. So we want to start them well ahead of our last frost date so that we can plant them out as soon as the last frost is over and it can get started growing. In my experience, this plant is really spindly at first. Like, it looks like it struggles for like the first 2 months. It really starts taking off when it gets really hot. So for instance, I planted this out in April, right after our last frost date. It seems like it's just now starting to get going. I'm just now being able to harvest a lot from it every single day. And when I say harvest, I mean I'm harvesting the flowers. So it really, really appreciates the heat. With that being said, you do want to put this in a full sun spot, like as much sun as you can give it. I actually planted 3 of these this year. I was doing a little bit of an experiment. I planted this one is in full sun, and the other 2, one I planted in kind of part sun, and then the other one was even less sun, and the other 2 are not doing well at all. Like they are literally like small little babies compared to this insane plant. So it needs as much sun as you can give it. How this plant grows is insane. This is one plant, and I'll try to show you the vastness of it. And like I said, it's just now, like it's August, it's just now like really, really, really taking off. And it is probably going to take over this entire trellis by the end of the growing season. And I'm totally okay with that because it's a beautiful vine. Like, this is just a really pretty vine. If you have a trellis that you want to cover with really pretty flowers, this is definitely the flower to do it with. That being said, you need to give it a really large trellis to grow up. If you plant it on something small, it's just going to engulf it. So yeah, it needs a really sturdy trellis or like a tall fence to climb, something like that. By far, the hardest part about growing this flower is starting it from seed. And unfortunately, we pretty much have to start it from seed because it's gonna be near impossible to find this from started plants in like a local garden center. I've never seen it before, and I've been to a lot of garden centers, so we have to start from seed. And this plant is notorious for being finicky and just hard to germinate, but I do have a few tips over the years that I've been growing this plant, because I've been growing this plant for 5 years now, so I have a few tips. The first tip is make sure that the seed seller is reputable. My first year, I bought the seeds from a seed company that I no longer buy from or support anymore. But the second year, when I was searching for seeds, I went with like a sketchy Etsy seller. And there are a lot of good Etsy seed sellers out there, but this one, the seeds showed up, they kind of looked bad. I kind of knew, and none of them germinated. Then Botanical Interest started carrying these seeds, and I was like, yes. So these are from Botanical Interest. Every single seed germinated, and it was kind of easy. Like, it was the easiest germination that I've seen so far. Another trick that you can do, since these seeds have a really hard outer shell, we need to scarify them. So that's just nicking the outer seed covering a little bit. In the wild, this protects the seed, but for us trying to germinate it, we don't want that. So just a little like nick in the outer seed covering, or you can also rub the seeds lightly on sandpaper. This is just gonna like stimulate those seeds to sprout or be easier for them to germinate once they do. The next tip is you can soak the seeds. So about 24 to 48 hours before you sow your seeds indoors in seed trays, you want to begin soaking them. And this just really makes sure that water is getting in there. You scarify it, you're soaking it, you are making sure that water is getting into the seed. Then you plant your seeds, then they germinate. I know it's a lot to go through for a seed, but this is so worth it. Because this is a legume, it really doesn't like root disturbance. So it's just like peas and beans. It doesn't really appreciate being sprouted in a seed tray. If you can do soil blocking, or you have like a biodegradable option, that is going to be better for starting these. I started mine in soil blocks this year, and they really loved it. And then when I put them in the ground, they really do take off if you use a soil block. I don't know why some plants are just like that. They just don't like their roots disturbed. They're just like little divas, and this is one of them. She's a diva, but I mean, look at her. It's so worth it. It's fine if she's a diva. Let's talk about harvesting. When this thing starts flowering, you want to pick the flowers every day. If you want to actually use this plant and you want to like store up a supply of these flowers to use all throughout the winter, you want to pick the flowers every single day. Because what happens if you don't pick them, they will turn into seeds and they look like little bean pods. And once the plant starts making a bunch of beans or seeds, it's going to stop flowering. And so I come out every day. I spend 5 minutes just picking all of the flowers. And then if there are any spent flowers that I missed the day before, they'll look really like wrinkled up. I just pluck those off and like throw them on the ground. So I'm just making sure to keep the plant stimulated and signaling to the plant like, hey, keep growing, keep flowering, because I want all the flowers that I can possibly get. The flowers open in the morning and then they pretty much stay open all day into the evening. So as long as you pick the flowers before they close up at night, then they are fine to pick. And the thing about this plant is there's virtually no pest pressure at all. The flowers are so clean. Like, you know, with some of the other flowers that we pick for herbal or like food purposes, they just attract a lot of bugs, and so you have to wash them. But nothing ever bothers this plant or these flowers. These flowers are like totally clean, so I don't even like rinse them or anything before I dry them out because I don't need to. This plant is unbothered by anything other than bees, and the hummingbirds like this plant as well. So I've made a habit of just picking these every day, and then I bring them right in and I dump them in my dehydrator, and I just dehydrate them out for a few hours. I think I do like 160 degrees for like 3 hours. You want to dehydrate them until they are fully dried out. We don't want any moisture left. And then you store them in an airtight jar and they can last in there for up to a year. You want to store them out of the sun. You want to store them in a dark place, because if you expose them to sunlight, the color that we want for all of our fun things and fun drinks, it'll start to fade. So keep it in a dark cabinet, dark cupboard, and it'll stay this beautiful electric blue. Once you have your fresh or dried flowers and you're ready to make a fun beverage or concoction, you just want to take a few of the fresh or dried flowers. You can use them fresh. I just prefer to go ahead and dry them out because I know that I'm going to be saving them up. But just take a few of the flowers and steep them in some hot water to make a tea. And then if you want to take it a step further and make like a lemonade, lemonade is one of my favorite things to make with this. You just add in a sugar, like a sweetener, like I like to use honey, and then you of course add in your lemon juice, and then that is what makes it the beautiful pink color. And then for cocktails, I will put one of my favorite butterfly pea cocktail recipes here on the screen, and you guys can try it for yourself. But it's just such a fun flower to grow. I hope this video inspired you guys to grow the beautiful blue butterfly pea. If you guys grow this, let me know in the comments. Let other people know if you guys have any other tips and tricks that I may have not mentioned or forgotten about. And you can find me on all of the platforms. I'm literally everywhere. I'm also on Substack if you prefer written content. And then I also have a podcast, and we post new episodes every single week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.